want to clear up an issue that often arises when transitioning from everyday terms to anatomical terms. So as a kid, your arm is your arm and your leg is your leg, but in anatomy, instead, your arm or upper limb is divided into the arm and forearm, and your leg or lower limb is divided into the thigh and leg. So when I say we're going to talk about the muscles of the arm, I mean this region here, between the shoulder and the elbow joints. Okay, now that we've got the terminology down, I'd like to give you a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about in this tutorial. First, we're going to be looking at the bones that make up the shoulder joint, as they form the bony framework that our muscles attach to. Then we'll look at the muscles of the arm, which can be divided into two compartments, the anterior compartment and the posterior compartment. As we talk about each muscle, we'll learn about their origin, insertion, function, and innervation. And finally, we'll conclude our tutorial with some clinical notes. So let's get started and talk about the bones of the shoulder joint. The shoulder joint is a synovial ball and socket joint, and we can see it here from an anterior perspective, highlighted in green. The ball component of this joint is formed by the head of the humerus, which is a feature of the long bone in our arm, the humerus, whereas the socket component is formed by the glenoid cavity, or fossa, which is part of the scapulae or shoulder blade. As such, the shoulder joint is also known as the glenohumeral joint. After that short but sweet introduction to the bones of the shoulder joint, let's move on now to have a look at the muscles of the arm, starting with the anterior compartment. Now, the anterior compartment of the arm consists of three muscles, and the first one we'll talk about is the biceps brachii. As the name suggests, this muscle has two heads, both with different points of origin, and the long head originates from the supraglenoid tubercle of the scapula, and the short head originates from the coracoid process of the scapula. Both heads unite to form a single large muscle belly, which inserts at the radial tuberosity. It also has a soft tissue attachment to the deep fascia of the forearm through a wide expansion of the biceps brachii tendon, known as the bicipital aponeurosis. So, what does the biceps brachii do? Well, this muscle has several functions. It's a powerful flexor of the forearm at the elbow